Thanks so much, everyone. Pengassan today held a summit which would start the future of Nigeria's oil and gas industry, energy mix, energy security, artificial intelligence, divestment, and crude oil theft. The Minister of State for Petroleum, Senator King Lokpobri, was one of those who spoke at that event. I'll allow you to listen to just a snippet of what he said.
Unless we tackle the problem from the root, whatever efforts we make may not give us the kind of result that we have. So today, I'm here, to say that we are here to partner with Pengassan. We're here to restate our commitment, to supporting, local refining, which is the way to go. We want a situation where we can build capacity for local refining so that we save the dollars that we use to import, PMS and other products into Nigeria. We're also interested to note that unless you refine, you are getting very little of the value of the crude oil.
All right, you heard it. But one question that a lot of Nigerians will want to ask the minister, why are the queues all over the place? We're focusing our attention on oil theft and crude oil lifting, illegal crude oil lifting in the country. And those who also will argue, is it possible that people take that quantum of oil that belongs to Nigeria out of the country for refining without the government knowing, out of our waters into international waters, and nobody knows? What about the surveillance that NNPC say they have? What about the surveillance that Navy said they have? Recently, we saw that the Navy ship Pathfinder uncovered a massive illegal refining site in Rivers State. It has a capacity of 2 million barrels per day. That's an illegal refining site. Well, let's speak with an expert. Comrade Festus Osifo is the president of Pengassan. Of course, he doubles as the president of the TUC. He's live with us tonight on the program. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much, Sheung. Good evening to you and good evening, viewers.
Thank you indeed. I saw the title of your summit today.
Yes.
And I'm intrigued to know how the handshake between artificial intelligence, secure investment, crude oil theft, and all what have you. But before we get into it, you and your colleagues in the oil and gas sector, what exactly is the problem? Because government seems to be sealed about this matter. Nobody is explaining to the Nigerian people why they have to suffer not only to find money to buy the fuel, but they have to queue at the filling station to buy what we're supposed to be enjoying the most as a people, because we have abundance of the crude under the ground.
Yes, Sheung, the real challenge today is because you could see that NNPC came out a few days ago and they talked about the logistics challenges. But from our findings, and because we all know the problem, perennial queues, we addressed our National Executive Council meeting sometime in April, and we said that this queue is going to continue. If it's solved today, you can solve it today temporarily. Tomorrow is going to resurface again. It's actually because of the failures of our pipelines. If the pipelines were working, because today we have about 21 depots in Nigeria cut across the nook and crannies of the country. So if those depots, if they were working, you won't have this kind of logistics challenges. So imagine how many trucks that needs to leave Calabar, leave Lagos and Portharcourt. And from Calabar, you are moving truck to Borno, you are moving truck to Yobe. So it is a problem. So part of what we have seen when we did a study, part of what we have looked at is that those depots that we have, can't we salvage those depots? When we salvage those depots, we'll have a strategic reserve. Today, as a country, we have strategic grain reserves. So in terms of energy security, what we have said was that if today, whenever these challenges are solved, whenever these problems are solved, why can't we, when things are okay, when we have the right quantities, we can ship a lot of these to those depots if they are well maintained and if they are functional. So that is part of what we have recommended to government vis-a-vis NNPC a while ago. That because if you have a depot in Zamfara, you have a depot in Yobe, and when you have this crude, you could bring in when you have the PMS, you could bring an excessive quantity, then you move the extra to this depot. So whenever you have logistics challenge in Lagos, in Calabar and all that, you could release from this depot. That is what is done all over the world.
Because I remember when there was there was flooding in some parts of the north central state.
Yes.
Kogi especially, which is like the corridor to so many states in the north.
Yeah.
Those 2-3 days that the trucks couldn't pass cost almost 2 weeks of fuel scarcity. So if there is an issue today in Nigeria and lifting cannot pass through our roads to those other states, there will be a disaster. There will be problem.
But if there was problem in Kogi and you have that flooding in Kogi, if you have strategic depot, if the one in Suleja was working, then what you could have done is that you will not use Suleja to feed the north central. If the one in let's say Yobe, if you have one in Yobe and it was working, then from Yobe you can feed the northeast. So we must have strategic reserves for PMS.
Do we Comrade, sorry, apologies about it. Yeah. Do we really have, because I know that the government will tell you that apart from condensate, that our crude oil reserve is about 35 billion barrels.
Correct.
But I don't know how much of this reserve that we have of imported refined finished product.
So we don't have. That is the challenge.
That's a disaster.
So today...
So if there is, in fact, we're talking about local logistic problem.
Absolutely.
What if there is an international logistic problem?
It becomes, from day one, we are down.
We are shut out.
Because where we keep these products, when you import them, so they are moved to tank farms. So where you have tank farms, majorly is Lagos, Portharcourt and Calabar, majorly. So when you import this product, you keep it there. From there, you distribute to the nook and crannies of Nigeria. So when there are issues down south, you cannot move this product to the north. But should we have strategic reserves? Then you keep these products there. So whenever, just imagine, we have a reserve that could keep, let's say, about 20 times what we need in a day. 20 days sufficiency or 30 days sufficiency, or at worst or at best we have a reserve that could keep 3 months sufficiency. When you have that, whenever you have any challenge locally or internationally, you could tap into your reserves, and at the end you could be able to service the country. So that is one of the things that we have proposed, so that these logistics challenges will not be happening every day. Shehu, even when we produce locally, let's assume today Dangote Refinery is working, Portharcourt Refinery, Warri Refinery, they are all working. You don't have refinery in the northeast. So what happens is that if you don't service those depots around that zone, you are going to have challenges. So that is one of the solutions that we have proposed to government. Beyond the challenges we have today, that you have from the mother vessel to the daughter vessel bunkering issues.
Well, for example, on the coast of Rivers State, there was an identified illegal refining site that has capacity to refine about 2 million barrels per day. What we even get per day in Nigeria is less than 1.5 million recorded. And it brings me to the issue of crude oil theft. But again, just before we go in there, a lot of Nigerians who are watching tonight will be wondering, when will these queues go away? When do you think this could happen? Because you and your colleagues are on the ground in this sector. Correct. When do you think we can have this go away?
Shehu, even if the queue goes away in the next 1 week, we cannot guarantee that after another 1 month, it will not return. Because you are always going to have challenges in the logistics.
So Nigeria is in for this hardship?
Absolutely.
Until
we do what is right. Either we fix the pipelines so that from those coastal areas, we could feed the hinterland, number one. Or number two, we have those strategic reserves across the length and breadth of the country. Maybe in the 6 geopolitical zones. It's until we have that, we are in for it. So the problem may be solved in 2 weeks, but I cannot guarantee that in the next 2 or 3 months, the challenges will not resurface again. But Shehu, you talked about 2 million barrels per day. I doubt the report from Navy that report is correct.
About that facility?
Yes, because a 2 million barrels production per day refinery, I doubt if you can have an illegal refinery that is that big. Even a Dangote, you saw how long it took Dangote to build a 650,000 barrel capacity per day refinery. So I seriously doubt that. But beyond that, coming to the issue of crude oil theft, sometime in 2022, we were producing about 700,000 barrels as a country. We went down to 700,000 barrels. So as Pengasan, we took to the rostrum. We were in the streets of the street of Kaduna, the street of Abuja. We were in Portharcourt. We were in Lagos, where we were advocating for what could be done. So we have proposed several solutions to government. But part of what we are trying to look at today in this our summit is how can we use technology to solve this problem? Shehu, we can actually deploy technology to resolve these issues of crude oil theft.
Well, that those who are perpetrating it, would they make it happen? Because we were talking about the problem in the petroleum sector.
Yes.
It does look like there are people who are perpetrating the fraud, the disaster, the problems in the sector, who are feeding off it and will not allow us to make progress as a people.
No, this is a national calamity, Shehu, whereby either about 500,000 barrels is shot in or is being stolen on a daily basis. If you calculate that, you extrapolate that for 1 year, you could see how much both the oil producing companies, the international oil companies and the independent producers, as well as government, the money that they lose on a daily basis.
We oscillate between 1.2 million, 1.3 million production per day.
From OPEC, yes.
But do we have capacity of up to 3 million?
Yes, we can actually do that. That is why during the PIA phase, one of the things we advocated was that government must create, because now where we have those challenges of crude oil theft is majorly in the JV. And the JV is situated in the shallow waters and land location, as well as swamp. That is where you have the JV operations. And that is why they carry out, that is the area where they carry out lots of this crude oil theft. If you go to the deep offshore, like Bonga, like Akpo FPSO, like Usan FPSO and Egina, you don't have these kind of challenges. And that was why we have been advocating that government must focus much more on that area, because a lot of the proven reserves today, they are all in the deep offshore, majority of them. So government must focus on that, and we must bring in technology in the JV area to be able to curb this menace of crude oil theft.
And I will have to hold you by your clothes today. Because you made promise to me on this program some times ago that you and your friends in the labor are going to hold the government accountable on the refineries, which the dates upon dates have been shifted. Correct. And they have not started working. But we're going to break. What is happening with the Portharcourt Refinery? You told us that you are going to ensure that government stand by its promise. But the promises the Nigerians have been failed on a daily basis on this date. From 2021, this 2024, correct, failure upon failure. What are we to expect? When will these refineries work? When will our people solve the suffering every day over what is natural for us to be able to do for ourselves? We now make it look like it is some big deal. Well, smaller countries are achieving those. We're going to break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about this crisis. So much, everyone, for staying with us. The Pengasan president, who also doubles as the TUC president, comrade Festus Osifo, has been speaking with us. So the refinery really gets tunes off some of us when those of us who have followed the stories of the 4 refineries that were unable to make work as a people. belonging to the federation, but unfortunately they never work, leaving us to now take our crude out of the country and bring out refined product. A shame of a situation. The Portharcourt Refinery, what exactly is going on? You said you were going to play an oversight role, but up to now, promises have failed.
Yes, it's not our job. The job was contracted out to a contractor. So in Portharcourt Refinery, we have our local branch in the Portharcourt Refinery, whom we have mandated, both in Pengassan and Nupeng. We mandated them to give us reports on what is happening in Portharcourt Refinery at every point in time. So that they have actually been doing. So the process of fixing Portharcourt Refinery actually belongs to the management and government. So they are the ones that are responsible for making the refinery work. But as unions, what we do every now and then is that we are asking them some tough questions to know where we are today. The last report that we got from the local chapter that we've often referred to as branch in Portharcourt Refinery was that they were carrying out some certain testing, but at the end of the day, they encountered some problems, and that they are trying to fix. The last time I visited Portharcourt Refinery was quite a while ago, but we have our local branch there, and that is the report that we got from the local branch, that they have introduced, that they have received some crude. Then that crude, they've introduced it into the line, and that after introducing it, they encounter some leaks and they encounter some challenges which they are trying to fix. So that was the report that we received. The same way that Nigerians are dismayed, even us, we are quite ashamed that it is, as a country, we export crude and we import PMS. I can tell you that even today that we are talking about the state of Portharcourt Refinery, and we are even expecting it to work, it is because of the role that both Pengassan and Nupeng played. I will tell you, Shehu, that when they started, over the years, they've told us about turnaround maintenance, but I will shock you, Shehu, that since 2003, 2004, there have not been a single turnaround maintenance in this refinery. What they do is just makeshift operations. The only time where you now have total rehabilitation taking place in this refinery was actually what happened from 2021. Shehu, I will tell you that when they went to borrow money to fix these refineries, then there was a tussle that this money should be kept with the CBN. Oh, we shouted and we said no, that this money that they have borrowed, it's being owned by Nigerians and it should be kept in an escrow account, and that you pay the contractor as per delivery. Instead of you to keep the money in CBN and we'll start hearing stories, but this money should be kept in an escrow account that you pay per milestones. So we fought for that. We told them that we will not allow what was happening in the past to happen. So that is why today we are even having hope that these refineries will come up very soon.
Because, we understand there was an upgrade of the refinery. Part of the package was that it was going to have maybe 100,000 plus more barrel per day capacity from the 210 that he initially had. But the question is that a lot of Nigerians may not be privy to the deal between the federal government and the private company that is taking the responsibility of fixing it and running it.
Yes. So now, where Nigerians, where we have also pushed as Pengassan and Nupeng, is that, and we started this 20 years ago, Shehu. Our advocacy then was that what government should do, when the refinery comes on stream, government must divest. You become minority shareholder by holding 49% shares. Then you allow the private companies to own 51% shares. That is why NLNG is functioning today. If government had 51% or controlling shares in NLNG, you would have had a lot of interference. But because government has the minority shares, that is why it's working. We also suggested the operation and maintenance strategy, that this should be contracted out, so that you have experts that that will be working in these refineries, and you get them, you remove government interference. That is really the key, because when government interferes in businesses like this, you are going to have lots of challenges. So in terms of today, what we are expecting, is the old Portharcourt Refinery. Yes, there are some upgrades that is currently being done to the new Portharcourt Refinery, but we are still expecting the old to start. We are not even talking about the
because
new
the reason why some people might forget. Fixing the refinery was one of the promises government made at the removal and the aftermath of the removal of fuel subsidy.
Yes, correct.
So it's supposed to come with a package.
Correct.
It was one of the 18 lists that you made, and you had an agreement with government. If there is a faltering on the side of government on these, what are the other things that the government is doing? And that's why we are holding you accountable. You said on behalf of the Nigerian people, you will hold the government accountable and make sure there will be an oversight on that. Please, I'm imploring you to do more in putting pressure on government to ensure that the refinery is ready. But on a final note, your friend, Joe Ajero, there seems to be threats coming from the labor that they will go on strike. We're just pleading that don't go on strike, please, because look, what is going in this country, if there another strike will not help us. But what do you make of it as a final thought on the program today?
Yes, on that, you could see that as of today, there was a response from our lawyer, Femi Falana, saying that government should come clean and government should tell us what are the offenses and what are the, they should open up much more because Nigerians need to know because the way it's being perceived today generally is that you are muscling labor movement. You are trying to cow the labor movement. So that is why that response was apt and that response was key because today Joe Ajero does not represent himself. Anything that he's doing it on behalf of the members of the Nigerian Labour Congress. So for us, we will continuously be advocates to push government to do what is right in all ramifications. Then in terms of the challenge that you have posed on the refinery, I could tell you that we are pushing from all regard. Now we are talking about strike. The final thing that we may not need to do is that we are shutting down the oil and gas industry for the refinery to work. So if we do that, you are also part of the people that is going to tell us that, oh no, we are shutting down because even the fuel queues that you have today is going to triple when that happens. I'm
a comrade in that regard. If it's for the good and the better life of the average Nigeria, I'm in for it. But I'm just worried that breaking down production and productive activity in the country will not further, it will further deteriorate things and not help things. Absolutely. But thank you so much indeed.
Thank you so much.
Festus Osifo, Penguin President and President of the Trade Union Congress. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm sure I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. God bless Nigeria.